Just 9 points separate the top three in the championship after 4 thrilling rounds that lead us on the road to the championship decider. Welcome to Sydney Motorsport Park, a wet, soggy and sodden Sydney Motorsport Park for our third and final visit to this magnificent circuit this season, the fifth and final state round, the sixth round of the V8 Superlabs Production Touring Car Championship in 2016. As has been the case right throughout the season, Daniel Istausen and Jacques Istausen have been the ones to catch, and they will start from pole position. Barry Graham and Luke Searle alongside them. The championship leader, Matthew Holt, alongside Josh Muggleton this weekend, will start third. Great to have the likes of Jacob Andrews and Dylan Thomas back on the grid. They're starting 13th. They haven't been with us since the round here in July. It's Jacob's first run in the car since that frightening crash in Friday practice on that occasion. The other two championship contenders, Chris Reeves and Blake Orban, starting 21st and 22nd respectively. A 35-car field here for this final New South Wales round of 2016. Zach Capen with you in commentary, everybody. Great to have you with us on Production Touring TV. Our coverage of this round of the series for you. And also good to have the likes of Jerry Murphy and Brett Healy back with us on the grid. Cars making their way around to take the green flag. We've had a couple of laps under safety car here because of the state of the circuit. Now they're released. Jacques Istausen puts the foot to the floor. The title decider is underway. We're on board with him now. Jacques Istausen picked up his first win yesterday here at Sydney Motorsport Park. And he's looking to pick up his first Enduro win with brother Daniel today. The CXC boys have been strong in sprint racing this season. Haven't been able to pick up an Enduro win yet. Michael Craig being passed there on the inside by Jimmy Pollicina. And Michael Cain's entry. Pollicina at the wheel. They started 12th. A little bit further down the pack than we expect from them in what was dry qualifying yesterday here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Magnificent field, making their way around. Very treacherous conditions. We had a complete downpour here just half an hour before the start of this race. It saw the supercar race that preceded us cancelled, and officials took some time to clear the circuit of any surface water, just monitor the conditions before the cars were released, and that's why we started under the safety car. Brett Healy, great to have him back on the grid. So too Jerry Murphy, as I said earlier. Murphy running a brand new BMW that he, well, not a brand new BMW, but it's new to him, and one that he picked up out of the Targa Racing stable this weekend. There's Blake Orban going through, so too Chris Reeves. They're the two championship contenders. Can you believe after 4 rounds in this series, we've had some magnificent racing and only 9 points after day one here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Just 9 points separates Matthew Holt, Blake Orban and Chris Reeves in pursuit for the 2016 title. Now, how about that? You might be able to notice that they're running the 94 this weekend. That is Daniel's car, of course. They're running a left tyre from Daniel's car that normally Daniel would run, but they're running 3 of Jacques' tyres. They've got a mixture of fluoro green and purple rims on that car this weekend. We're on board with Jimmy Pollicina now, making his way around onto the main straight. You can still see the windscreen wipers hard at work there. Look at the spray being kicked up from the car in front. I believe it's the Simmons entry. Can't tell for the spray. Yes, there it is, going through on our trackside camera right now. What a good shot that is. On board with Matty Holt. Josh Muggleton pairing up with him in this round of the series. Slow and steady through turn 2. Holt had a huge sideways moment through turn 3 in qualifying for the May round, which was also wet. We're on board now with our defending champion, 2-time champion, Chris Reeves in the Toyota 86. A little bit further back in the field than normal for this point of the race. Just getting by the entry of Kath and Paul Loiacano there. Kath in her first race here this weekend. What an initiation, eh? Wet weather at Sydney Motorsport Park. Not easy for anybody. Jimmy Vernon looking up on Reeves outside. Vernon, of course, looking for his 4th consecutive round win in Class D. He's going to get up on the inside of Chris Reeves there as well. Job done. That will be for the lead in Class D. Jimmy Vernon, what a star he has been this season. What a tremendous performer and newcomer to this series. He will do great things in 2016, and in 17 I should say, and we're very much looking forward to seeing what he's capable of when we get there. Blake Orban makes his way through, then Matthias Herberstein, and the Flanagan and Maloof entry as they make their way through Brock 05 and on the run up the hill. Reeves has managed to get back by Vernon. Back to the front. Jacques Townsend leading the way very comfortably at that. The second place man is Luke Searle and Barry Graham. That's the BMW, of course. We believe that Luke Searle is behind the wheel there, and Barry will bring it home. They make their way through. Just to remind you as you join us, round 5 of the state championship, round 6 of the club championship, the decider coming up for the club championship and the Mocom Cup at Winton Motor Raceway in December. We go on board with Michael Craig in the Mitsubishi Evo, now onto the main straight. Of course, that round at Winton will be 2 one-hour races, which we are very much looking forward to. You'll see them here on Production Touring TV. Look at the spray still being kicked up. Still drizzling at Sydney Motorsport Park as we go back to our champion-elect, Matthew Holt, holding off Kevin Herben's entry with Rodney Thorpe this weekend. They're teaming up after Thorpe ran so beautifully in that car at the last round of the championship at Wakefield Park. Sully is just behind them, teaming up with Adam Burgess this weekend. The Wakefield 300 winner back in February. By gee, look at the lead that Jark has opened up through Brock 05. And then on his way up to 6. He'll begin the climb up and over Corporate Hill. Plenty of cameras being used this weekend at Sydney Motorsport Park. You won't miss much of the action here. Lots of different angles and exciting angles of this championship decider for you as far as the state championship is concerned. This is the important one. This is determining who wears number 1 in 2017. It's been 5 rounds inside 4 months. It's been a very hectic schedule. But the cream of the crop are rising at the right end of the season, and it's an all-out battle between Holt, Reeves and Orban as we go on board with Jimmy Pollicina now, up over Corporate Hill. There's Blake Orban, Herberstein there as well. There's Vernon and Reeves as well, making their way out of 5 up the hill. Oh no, big moment there, takes rubber. Chris Reeves is around it into the wall. Chris Reeves is in the wall to the defending champion. Oh, can you believe that? What a moment in the context of the race and the championship. He needed a class win today. If there was any chance of knocking off Matthew Holt, that has surely all but evaporated now. On board with him in a replay. He had it crossed up. He saved it once. He got it crossed up again. Couldn't save it the second time. Rounded into the wall. The passenger side rear vision mirror takes a bit of a knock. He's such a consistent performer. We rarely see mistakes like that from Chris Reeves. That is so unfortunate. On board there with Matthew Holt and Josh Muggleton. Holt just very happily lets the Thorpe Herben entry go by through turn 1. We're a little bit slower than normal here at Sydney Motorsport Park, of course, due to the wet weather. Drizzle still falling. Windscreen wipers still working overtime here on a Sunday afternoon. The last event on the program for the New South Wales Motor Racing Championship season. We haven't had a safety car interruption since the safety car was brought in and we went green for the first time in this race. Oh, a huge moment there for Barry Graham and Luke Searle's entry. Searle at the wheel. The BMW having a huge moment on the approach to turn 5. Let's see as they go up the hill what might unfold for that car. It's having a solid run, but moments like that, oh, they're hairy, aren't they? There's Cox getting through on the inside of Blake Orban now. We need to elaborate. I was saying about the safety car. If we go safety car free, somewhere in the vicinity of 25, 26, maybe even a couple more laps in this race, once you take the compulsory pit stop window into account. And that's another, huge moment there and a good save too. You saw it from the windscreen from on board with Matty Holt. Huge moment there for Herben and Thorpe's entry as they make their way around onto the main straight once more. What a moment. That's insane. Not only that he was able to drift it like that, but able to save it from being so much more than a drift. There we go, on board with Jacques Townsend, putting a lap on. Chris Reeves. Not often that you see that happen this early in the race. As Oosthuizen leads out of turn 8 once more. He will hand over to Daniel Oosthuizen very shortly. Daniel Oosthuizen has a Class A1 victory for the state championship on the line, and also a club championship title to think about as well. He's still on track to win that if all goes to plan here, and down at Winton as well. Back onto the main straight. But yes, the compulsory pit stop window is the other thing that we need to tell you about as we have a look at the GWS Motorsport entry of Peter and also James O'Donnell making their way through turn 2. That car's been in the wars this weekend, but they've got it running and they've still got it on circuit after this portion of the race, which is great to see. We go on board with Nigel Williams now onto the main straight. Listen to the Holden at work. What a sweet sounding machine that is. Just literally flew down the main straight. Jimmy Policena hard at work on board with him now in the Mitsubishi as he makes his way to turn 2. Up there on the inside of Anthony Sewell. Can he get the job done? Not yet. Not yet. And you'd probably say that Sewell, given his proximity to Matty Holt, given that he's got Policena right on his tail, we're back on board with Jim now. Big moment there for Sewell on the exit of 3, I should say. He was sideways all over the shop, and that allows Policena up on the inside. You'd say Sewell's in a very competitive car in these sort of conditions. It's a competitive car right throughout the championship, but more so in these conditions. And just as I say that, he does his best drift work on the exit of 5. Well, the old commentator's curse nearly struck there. There's Kite and Hodson side by side at the moment, tippy-toeing out of turn number 2. Hodson and Muir sharing the entry that's following Jeff Kite at the moment. Now we go back to the O'Donnell entry. Back down the main straight. 35 cars in the field this weekend. Great to see all of them take the start this afternoon. Down the main straight on board with Nick Cox now. Will we see the GWS Motorsport entry come down on the inside or not? There it is. Straight down on the inside goes the GWS Motorsport entry and takes the position. We go back now. Oh, Herben wide there at turn number 2. Matty Holt looking to come up on the inside. Herben was able to keep it on track there, which was good to see. Holt, I don't think too worried. We'll get back to the point I was making about Sewell in a moment. I want to focus on Matty Holt. He is, as we go on board with Jimmy Policena, who's following Holt at the moment. Holt is, of course, champion-elect. Said to me before the start, we'll go out there and do what we have to do to just get through the stint. We stay out of trouble. If that means, letting a couple of cars go, so be it. That's exactly what he's doing. He's not out there playing for sheep stations. He's wanting the big picture. He's focusing on that. He wants the championship in 2016, and he could well get it here. Jimmy Policena looking all over the back of him at the moment. Will he let Jim go? I think so. Watch this. Up on the inside goes Jim. Yep. No fight from Matthew Holt right there. He knows what he's got to do. And that's finish. Firstly, finish as he has a little bit of a sideways moment over Corporate Hill. But secondly, make sure in relation to the points race, he accumulates more points in this race than the 2 men chasing him, Blake Orban and Chris Reeves. I was talking about Sewell. That car competitive at the best of times, but those little cars don't mind these sort of conditions. The 4-wheel drive Evos are always very well handled and very well suited, but those little BMWs, they do go well, and that car is holding its own in the opening stages of this race. Holt onto the main straight now. To go back to the other point, I was starting to make all these points, and then all hell broke loose, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the compulsory pit stop window, as was the case at Wakefield Park in round 3 of the series and round 2 of the state championship. Oh, big moment there for the Toyota 86 of Graham Heath. He went into the wall on the outside, driver's right, and there's another moment for Luke Searle. They are going everywhere at the moment at Sydney Motorsport Park. They are conditions not for the faint-hearted, that is for sure. As they go out of 5 and on the run up, the yellow flag waving there. That was for the Heath entry. The 522. That was the big spin there. Oh no, now Kelly Simpson's gone round. A spin there for Kelly Simpson. We'll get a replay of that in a moment for you. As you saw, Jacques Townsend making his way up there on the inside. And Simpson loses a little bit of track possession, but not too much in the way of class position. She's actually well positioned there at the moment in Class D. Here's a replay for you. We're on board with Jacques Townsend for this moment. And just on the water on the circuit, Simpson's managed to lose it all on her own. And there's Townsend taking evasive action accordingly. Back now with Anthony Sewell. Graham Heath lets Nigel Williams go. Williams will lead down the main straight. Just watch the Holden at work there. Straight line speed, it'll have the match. As we see Tony Virag and Warren Millett getting out of pit lane now. Their compulsory pit stop is done. Their driver change is done. But that Holden of Nigel Williams has the horsepower that the other cars don't, but has to be mindful that its corner speed doesn't stack up in these conditions. Got to be a little bit more gentle on the throttle as we go back to Jimmy Polisena and Michael Caine. Back onto the main straight they come. Compulsory pit stop. Now that you've seen Virag and Millett in there, same as Wakefield Park, what we had round 2 of the championship, round 1 of the Enduros, what we will have down at Winton. Quick compulsory pit stop, driver change if necessary, wheel change as well, and back on your merry way out onto the racetrack. Some drivers will get it right, some drivers will be slow, but they are the racers. As we saw for CXC Global Racing at Wakefield Park, they are the moments of these races where the race can be won or lost for you. As we see Matthew Holt making his way up there on the outside, lapping the GWS Motorsport entry, the O'Donnells. He'll take Scott Bargwanna with him. Normally it's Simmons and Lane in that car, but not today. Scott Bargwanna in the seat for the full hour. So I do apologise, I called that wrong earlier. We're used to having at least one of the two team up there with Scott Bargwanna, but not on this occasion. We're on board with Holt. On the inside of Simpson, job done there. Herben is the next one that he's got to account for. And then, of course, Herben and Thorpe driving together in the number 9. Renline TV entry this weekend. On their way up towards Corporate Hill, we're on board with Nigel Williams. Looking all over the back of the Gosling entry. Safely through, job done. Negotiated that. Little bit of a sideways moment on the cement there on the exit of that particular corner. Brock 05, you're on board with Jacques Townsend. He's now in pit lane. Let's watch the CXC team go to work. He'll cross by our pit camera there. He'll pull into the pits. He'll hand over to Daniel Townsend, and Daniel will take it for the drive home. Some of these teams probably would have been hoping for a safety car so that they could do their compulsory pit stop during the safety car period. But to the credit of the drivers, and they're all to be commended on this, we haven't had one yet. We've been racing for over half an hour. Not one yet. On board now with Michael Caine, who's taken over from Jimmy Polisena, following the Barry Graham, Luke Searle entry through there. Barry Graham behind the wheel, up and over the rise. And Graham will hold his own in these conditions. Speedway racer, so he will no doubt know how to handle a car on a slippery surface. Now Michael will get the job done on the inside. No, he won't. But pace of the BMW, the corner speed of the BMW, too strong for the Mitsubishi at the moment. Now we're still on board with Michael Caine. The Marcel entry for Polisena Motorsport. One of the CXC cars there trying to get by some lap traffic. That was the 42 of Herberstein. We are looking at the race leader, I should point out, in Jark and Daniel Townsend. Daniel behind the wheel now. There is Jimmy Vernon just up the road from him. Back onto the main straight we go. Another lap will be gone. Here at Sydney Motorsport Park, at the moment it's a race between two. Muggleton and Holt lead the motor race. Townsend are second at the moment. That is on corrected order, taking into account that some of these guys are still completing their pit stops. Our championship leader, our champion-elect, is in as well. Now watch Hodson and Muir go to work. Now all they've got to do is get the wheels off, get them back on. That one wheel on the rear left-hand side there. Off the jacket goes and away from the pit stop. Very quick, efficient work there for you. We have Jimmy Vernon going a little bit wide there, but driving smartly because he knows he's got faster cars coming through by the virtue of Barry Graham getting up on his inside. So too Michael Caine about to sneak up there. Not yet. It was sideways on the exit there, Michael Caine. Now we go on board with Michael Craig in the Mitsubishi Evo to get by the 37 of David Baker. Quick mention too, the Class E entries of Zach Radatz and Finley Hills have been joined this weekend by, of course, Graham Cox and Jeff Fear, who are running the Nissan Pulsar, doing a very good job of it as well. Finley Hills running with his father Aaron this weekend, Aaron making his PTC debut. On board with Michael Caine, just trying to get his way by Jimmy Vernon. Gee, Vernon's held his own, hasn't he? He's taken Caine a full lap to get by there. Cost himself a hell of a lot of time as they make their way through the left-hander. But on the outside there too of Michael Caine was Kath and Paul Loyacano. Paul just out there to clock up the class win if he can, but also to get the championship points required to wrap up Class B1. At the moment, he's going to face some stiff competition in Class B1 from Peter and James O'Donnell, of course, who are running the GWS Motorsport BMW. We go back to Herben, Reeves, Williams is there as well. We're on board with Chris Reeves now. Nice sounding car, but there goes Michael Craig up on the inside of Chris Reeves. Nice to hear the sound of the Toyota 86 hard at work. Nowhere near as much grunt, however, as the Mitsubishi, and Craig makes his way up on the inside of Chris Reeves. Chris, of course, not fighting any of this. He's out of contention in terms of the race. He's going a lap down to these guys at the moment. Not getting in their way. Of course, circuit position is one thing. Race position is another. Track position is another again. And Chris, in terms of circuit position, just letting those cars continue on with their motor race because he knows that he's just trying to consolidate now and score as many points as he can. And really, after the incident earlier on, he's hoping for calamities left, right and centre as far as his combatants are concerned. Reeves and, Auburn and Holt really need to retire if Chris is to get his hands on the championship trophy once more. Daniel and Jacques Townsend on board with Daniel now. And if you look just through the windscreen there, you'll see the race leader. We were with the man that's in second. Just 2 seconds separate first and second in this car race. This is fantastic. Townsend following Muggleton for the outright win. Townsend could wrap up Class A1 today. Muggleton will help Holt wrap up the championship if he just finishes where he's at in his class. He leads Class A2 at the moment. This is an all-out fight for outright honours, though, between Mitsubishi and Holden. Mitsubishi haven't been defeated in any of the races so far this season in terms of first to the flag, so maybe that trend will continue. There's Townsend, you just missed it. Going down on the inside of Josh Muggleton, and the race leaders changed hands. The GWS Motorsport entry was sideways coming through for the O'Donnells. Like many others, coming unstuck on that corner, but able to get it back together and keep it on the black stuff, and that's what we like to see. Now Kyle Auburn there, coming under pressure from Virag and Millett. But down on the inside they go comfortably. There's Caine getting by his old sparring partner, his old driving partner, Jerry Murphy. Up there on the inside. The BMW holding his own on the outside. Look at this. He'll stick with him too. Sideways goes Caine. 3-4. They'll put a lap on Aaron Hills now. Magnificent race here at Sydney Motorsport Park. It's coming right down to the wire between first and second. But the rest of them, it's on for young and old. And it has been right from the get-go. They've spread out, but there's little battle packs forming. The water's playing its part. Drivers are slipping up on a very slippery surface and then finding their limit in these very challenging conditions. Bearing in mind, this is the first time the drivers hit the circuit today. They haven't had a run since dry qualifying yesterday. We're on board with Josh Muggleton now. Look at the lead that Oosthuizen's opened up in just a lap and a half of taking the lead. Opened up very nicely. I was wondering, it was 20 seconds between Muggleton and Oosthuizen after the pit stops. We knew that Oosthuizen had the overall race speed to catch him. He was 2 seconds a lap faster than Muggleton, then Holt right throughout. They had a slower pit stop than the Muggleton team and Holt team there at Bilstein. But in the grand scheme of things, the Mitsubishi was always going to be better suited to these conditions. It was always going to be interesting to see where and how quickly he could make up the time. Daniel Oosthuizen made it up quicker than we probably anticipated. And now he is heading towards the checkered flag. He will come around onto the main straight and be the race winner. It'll be the first enduro race victory for CXC Global Racing since this time last year, since Dylan Thomas won here on this weekend last year. And it will be the first time that the Oosthuizen boys have enjoyed success outside of sprint mode. Onto the main straight, checkered flag in the air. The Oosthuizens do it in Sydney. And we go a little bit further back, taking the checkered flag now. Josh Muggleton secures second, the Class A2 victory, and gets Matthew Holt a third V8 Superlapse Production Touring Car Championship. What a mighty fine drive from that young man in these conditions in his first time in the car. And what about that guy we're on board with now, Daniel Oosthuizen? Very happy with himself, and rightly so. Magnificent all around from those boys at the front of the field. Oosthuizen squared, getting the win by 9 seconds from Holt and Muggleton. Pollicino and Kane in for third, their second podium of the Mocom Cup this season. Scott Barguana and Michael Craig making up the top 5. The winner in Class B2 was Anthony Sewell and Adam Burgess in 11th position. In 14th year Class E winners, a terrific run from the Nissan Pulsar of Fear and Cox. Class C honours to Blake Orban. It just wasn't going to be his day, unfortunately. He picks up second in the championship, however. Class D, Jimmy Vernon, his 4th round win, pipping Chris Reeves. A shocking day at the office for Reeves by his standards, down in 26th outright. And he picks up third in the championship for 2016. Just behind him, your Class B1 winner, Peter and James O'Donnell. And then down in 30th position, Class S, James Harrington. Another round win there for the Holden VN Saloon. And looking over the page, only 3 DNFs in all of that, which is pretty good given the conditions we were dealt with. Podium presentation for you in just a moment. In the meantime, the picture tells the story. Matthew Holt, 460. Blake Orban, 450. Chris Reeves, 440. They came into the weekend separated by those 6 points. 20 points separates our top 3 in the 2016 championship. They pick up their respective classes A2, C and D. And then just behind them, your Class B2 winner on 415 points, Anthony Sewell. Daniel Oosthuizen secures Class A1 honours with 409 points in 5th position outright. Great run also from Jimmy Vernon, despite missing the first round to be on 389 points, down in 7th position. Oh, what might have been had he been here for the opening round of the season. There they are on the podium, the top 3 after the Enduro. The Oosthuizen boys on top. Kane and Pollicino another podium in 3rd spot. Matty Holt and Josh Muggleton there in 2nd position. Muggleton, one of the stars of the series. His drives this year have been nothing short of superb. And he handled that car as though he'd been driving it for 10 years today. And it was only his first weekend behind the wheel. And now, of course, time for a shoey. Daniel and Jacques Oosthuizen. Champagne never tasted so good, and it never tasted so good from a boot, ladies and gentlemen. How about that? Magnificent stuff. And there's our champion, Matthew Holt, being interviewed by yours truly on the podium at Sydney Motorsport Park. A terrific performance from him in 2016 to break the dominance of Chris Reeves and Toyota. The championship now moves to Winton in Victoria. The final club round coming up on December 3 and 4. We look forward to your company there. In the meantime, what a weekend for the Oosthuizen boys, eh? Particularly Jark, his first sprint win yesterday, his first Enduro win today, a weekend that he surely won't forget. Nor will Matthew Holt, the 2016 V8 Superlapse Production Touring Car Champion. On behalf of all the team here at Sydney Motorsport Park, look forward to your company from Winton. I'm Zach Cabin. Bye for now.